A new season of anime is almost upon us, and you know what that means. New shows, lots and lots of new shows, a few too many, as anyone who knows the first thing about the industry would say. But fear not, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, for I am here to help you navigate through that abhorrently long list of anime each new season hits us with. Here's a watch list of every single anime I'll watch from the upcoming fall season. Now, usually I open these videos up with something along the lines of the upcoming season has a bunch of major titles or the upcoming season is very promising, but unfortunately that's not the case this time around. The fall of 2025 is actually quite underwhelming, all things considered. There are a small handful of major titles and a smaller handful of potential hidden gems, but as a whole, not much going on. The ongoing summer and the upcoming winter are far more stacked, which I know isn't the most cheerful way of starting a video, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get to it. Make sure to subscribe. There's nothing underwhelming about that. According to this totally real news article, subscribing to the probably pretentious channel is one of the top 10 hottest things a person can do. You can also become a member of this channel. Members get at least 2 exclusive videos per month, custom hand-drawn badges and emojis, shoutouts and more. Just go down there and press the join button. So, as per usual, we'll go through these as per their popularity according to live charts, starting with One Punch Man Season 3. The big one, the controversial one, the I'll milk this show dry one. One Punch Man Season 3 is an interesting production, let's put it that way. As viewers of this channel may know, this project is extremely compromised behind the scenes. The production timeline of it is comically bad, so much so that the team was forced to make multiple pre-animated trailers and use footage from said trailers in the actual show because they couldn't afford to reanimate those scenes. Things are rough basically, and as a result, I highly doubt this show will look particularly good. I'm sure it will have a few highlights here and there, but as a whole, don't get your hopes up too high. Of course, I will cover the actual episodes and the proper trailer if they do drop such a thing in real time, so I'll get plenty of opportunities to talk about the visuals in detail. Story-wise, One Punch Man is a lot of fun. I like the humor and I loved Season 2 and its relatively serious storytelling. Also, I'm quite fond of Karo and it looks like this season will put more focus on him, which is great news. Overall, really excited for it for a bunch of different reasons. Up next, we have SpyxFamily Season 3, a fairly unremarkable show in my opinion. It's fine, I think that's the best way of describing it. It's fine, the anime. SpyxFamily can be wholesome and fun at times, it can be cutesy and endearing, but overall I think it's fairly bland. Plus, and this is a pet peeve of mine, I don't like shows that present death and murder as gags. That stuff bothers me a bit. Still, the show isn't offensive, plus it's relatively well produced, so no reason to not watch it. Also worth mentioning, the show has undergone a director change. The Wit Studio affiliated Kazuhiro Furuhashi has been replaced by the Cloverworks affiliated Yukiko Imai, but I doubt that'll lead to a major stylistic shift. Next up, we have Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 2, which is somehow more popular than My Hero Academia according to this website. Now, trust me, this show is really good. I know it's an isekai blah blah blah, protagonist has convenient abilities, RPG world, the whole 9 yards, but it's genuinely really fun. The show doesn't take itself too seriously, it doesn't feel overly indulgent, the characters are endearing, and while it's not exactly a visual powerhouse, it looks good enough to be considered polished. The style and color use is appealing and the cooking scenes have a lot of effort put into them. Again, relaxing and fun, but not obnoxiously junk food like, good stuff. Up next, we have a big one, arguably the biggest one in this list. We have My Hero Academia Season 8, aka the final season. Now, as many of you may know, I'm not exactly fond of My Hero Academia, and as such, instead of revisiting all of my issues with this show, let's talk about an aspect of it that I am excited for, the visuals. My Hero Academia has been a well-produced show for most of its runtime. It is a conservative production. Producing 2 core shows back to back constantly is basically the same thing as producing a long-running anime, but it is still able to retain a strong core staff and a more or less consistent visual quality. Season 8, however, should theoretically be different in a good way, of course. If everything goes to plan, the upcoming Season 8 should be the strongest one yet. Why, you may ask? Because of 3 main reasons. 1, I believe this season will be 12 to 13 episodes long instead of 24, a format that will allow the staff to raise the quality floor. 2, the team won't have to start preparing for a sequel once they are done with it, giving them a bigger production buffer. And 3, this is the end, this is it, it's the finale. There's no time better than this to pull out all the stops and put your best foot forward. Basically, long story short, I believe this season will be really well animated. As for the story, I believe this season will be really well animated. My status as an assassin obviously exceeds the heroes. Off to power fantasy land we go. Now, hold on, wait. I swear I have a good reason. This show looks quite good. There's a respectable amount of movement for what I presume is just another typical power fantasy. And that's more than enough for me. I have no standards, I'll watch anything. Jokes aside, this show has a competent staff behind it, one led by veteran director Nobuyoshi Habara, who has been directing stuff since the early 80s, and it looks quite promising. It's not perfect, of course. The compositing is a bit too deep-fried for my liking, and the designs look needlessly rigid and detailed to the point where the animation looks clunky, but there's something there, if you know what I mean. My friend's little sister has it in for me. Looks like a typical gimmicky rom-com, not expecting much, but it should at the very least be fun. Plus, it looks alright. Also, I've been meaning to read the light novel for a while now I won't have to, good stuff. Let This Grieving Soul Retire Part 2. Part 1 was fun from what I can remember. It was goofy in all the right places. Nothing extraordinary, but a decent watch overall. Up next, could you tell I'm trying to speedrun through some of these? Up next, we have My Gift Level 9999 Unlimited Gacha Backstabbed in a Backwater Dungeon. I'm out for revenge. Now, the reason why I'll watch this is because this title appears to be a bold, avant-garde, genre-blending look at the nuances of human drama. It's because the title sounds funny, that's literally it. The show itself looks like your typical trashy, edgy, self-insert power fantasy. Hey, at least it's being directed by JC staff regular Katsushi Sakurabi, a fairly competent action director, and the trailers feature a couple of moderately impressive scenes. At least there's that. Chitose is in the Ramune bottle. Now this is a potential hidden gem. Chitose is in the Ramune bottle is a fairly respected light novel, and based on the bits and pieces of it I read back in the day, it's quite entertaining. The characters and their interactions have a lot of personality, and the overall writing is relatively cliché-free, if that makes sense. Also, if all of that wasn't enough to sell you on this show, this project is being directed by the one and only Yuji Tokuno, a rising star and the man responsible for one of the best, most fun episodes from Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, one of, if not the best episode from the recently concluded Yaiba, and a fantastic One Piece episode. Naturally, the show looks quite promising. Now, yes, it won't exactly be a Sakuga here, Sakuga there, Sakuga everywhere masterclass, but you can expect a bunch of dynamic, unorthodox shot compositions, complex visual ideas, and meaningful direction. Really excited for this one. The Banished Court Magician aims to be the strongest. Your typical power fantasy, I don't have much else to add really. It's being directed by Ken Takahashi, so at least the visuals might have a few high spots. A wild last boss appeared. It's an isekai fantasy, I know, very unique. And I don't know how seriously it'll take itself, but it sounds fairly goofy and fun. Why not? Up next, we have Lil Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right. I'm not laughing at that title, and neither are you, because guess what? We're both grown, matured adults. Also, just for the record, Lil Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right is being produced by Studio Feel. I'm not laughing. Anyway, the premise sounds quite goofy and wholesome, plus the trailers look cute. It can be fun as long as it doesn't lean too heavily into its gimmick, a problem a lot of these cutesy rom-coms suffer from. This monster wants to eat me. This show, with a title that sounds eerily similar to the last one, is seemingly a matured, serious drama, and while the premise does sound a bit creepy, this can be good. Also, the source material is quite highly rated, although that doesn't mean much, since Yuri and Yaoi titles tend to have disproportionately high ratings because of their, let's just say, passionate fan bases. Still hoping for the best. Up next, we have another big one. We have Sanda, a gorgeous, over-the-top, goofy, action-packed anime produced at Science Saru. Sanda looks incredible, the visuals are packed with movement and snappy energy, the designs look unique, and the level of polish appears to be quite high. I'm expecting a lot. Dusk Beyond the End of the World. Based on what I can tell, this one is a somber, slow-paced, post-apocalyptic drama with surprisingly solid action animation and potentially sinister undertones. Also, it's being directed by Naokatsu Suda, best known for directing multiple JoJo's Bizarre Adventure parts and Tokyo 24th Ward. What more can you ask for? Up next, we have Wandance, a Madhouse production. This one looks interesting. The show is centered around dancing, and as some of you may know, dancing is one of the most difficult things to animate constantly, so much so that there are countless examples of dancing animation gone wrong. As such, the team took two precautions. One, they hired Riehata, I hope that's how you pronounce it, a choreographer who has worked with major musical acts like BTS, and two, they decided to make the dance scenes 3D. Now, while I'm perfectly fine with them going fully CGI for the performance scenes, I can't say I'm terribly fond of the quality of the same, especially because recent shows like Rock is a Lady's Modesty, Medalist, and From Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman featured far superior 3D character animation. The models don't really fit the overall aesthetic, and the show seemingly does very little to change that. It looks quite jarring. Still, it's not horrendous, the stuff around the CG looks decent, plus the show is being directed by Michiya Kato, an experienced compositing artist who has worked on major projects like the Kizumonogatari trilogy and Satoshi Kon's Paprika. It should be good. Yano-kun's Ordinary Days, just a slow, seemingly matured rom-com, why not? Touring after the apocalypse, a post-apocalyptic cute girls do cute things show, it looks quite nice. It has that serene, atmospheric feel to it which I like. Good stuff. Blue Orchestra Season 2. A music anime, this one can feel a tad bit too overdramatic at times, but it wasn't horrible based on what I can remember. What was horrible, however, was its CG use, but it is what it is. Not every show can be a sound euphonium, can it? Gnosia. Now, I can pretend to be a wise film buff and make comparisons between this show and John Carpenter's The Thing, but that wouldn't be particularly funny or entertaining, would it? What would be funny, however, was if I called it Among Us the Anime, so that's what I'll do. This is Among Us the Anime. The characters are on a spaceship, there's an imposter among them, and they vote out suspicious people. Jesus Christ, it really is Among Us, isn't it? Anyway, it can be good as long as they nail the mystery/thriller aspect well. Up next, we have Ganglion, a short-form comedy directed by Ayumu Watanabe. It's one of the 96 million fucking projects Watanabe is currently in charge of. I don't really know what to expect from it if I'm being honest, but it's a short-form release, sure I'll watch it, why not? And those were the weekly shows, quite a lot of them, but not as many as usual because again, the fall season isn't all that stacked. We aren't done, however, because there are a bunch of batch releases that I'll watch. Let's go through them. Firstly, Dorohedoro Season 2, which I presume will air this fall because they gave us a 2025 release date. They haven't revealed any footage yet, but we know it'll look good because the person in charge of it is the one and only director extraordinaire Yuichiro Hayashi. I can't wait. We also have the third season of Star Wars Visions, another promising title. Once again, we'll get a series of well-produced, self-contained episodes, but this time around, we have a visual behemoth to look forward to. You see, one of these episodes will be directed by the legendary Shinya Ohira, and as expected, the staff list for it is disgustingly stacked. I'm genuinely really looking forward to it. And finally, we have that Tatsukifujimoto one-shots thing, a collection of seemingly well-produced, self-contained adaptations of manga shots penned by Tatsukifujimoto, the man behind Chainsaw Man and Look Back. It can be good. I'm not the biggest Chainsaw Man fan, but I did like Look Back. I'm excited. And that's it. A special thanks to Nude03, Pavel and Damir for becoming Tier 3 members, and until next time.